Maybe someone will save it for the.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here, joining our March 12th Town Council meeting. We appreciate everyone taking the time out to be here with our meeting tonight. We will follow along our agenda and hopefully be expedient with our time tonight. Council, you have your agendas in front of you. We will do a invocation, a pledge, and then we'll do approval after that. I'm going to ask Mr. Jarozinski if he would give us an invocation.
We'll take a moment, bow our heads. Lord, we'd like to thank you for giving us the time to gather here today. We ask that you will fill us with wisdom and understanding, guide our ways in truth, and bridle our tongues in love as we join as a community together to lead us into the future. Amen.
Amen. Please stand as we recite our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for your participation. Council, as I stated, you've got your agendas in front of you. Is there any adjustments to the agenda? Staff?
Yeah, item 8C under the regular agenda, rezoning case RZ 2601 to rezone 8.77 acres on Perry Road has been withdrawn by the applicant, so we ask that you remove that from the agenda.
Anything else? Okay. Council, you've heard from staff on item 8C to remove that rezoning case. If there is an agreement, we will approve our agenda with the removal of that item. Is there a motion?
I will make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Motion is made to approve the agenda with the one item removed. Is there a second? Motion is made. Receive the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. The next item is our consent agenda, and we've got several sets of minutes from November 2025. We also have the 26 mid-year projections to adopt the ordinance around our budget amendment, amendment number 2. We also have the approval of our easement agreement between the town and Prestige Land. We've got the adoption of the resolution ratifying and approving the purchase of real property, lease agreements, and lastly, we've got the agreement to approve the contribution between BBC Bean and North Creek and the town. All these items will be approved with one motion unless a council member asks for that item to be removed and placed further into the agenda. Is there a motion regarding our consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion is made, receive a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business, and the first item is a rezoning case, CZLC 2502. The applicant is Home Run Market Properties to rezone 4.5 acres located at intersection of Perth and State Roads. The PIN is 4730670762 and 4730579824. This is a rezoning from Town of Troutman suburban residential to conditional zoning local commercial. I will now open this public hearing, and I will turn it over to Mr. Van Truska.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with a little bit of background information. Applicant is Home Run Market Properties LLC. Property owners are Darren Stevenson and Ronald Wyatt. The current zoning is RS, or suburban residential. As mentioned, the request is to zone the property to CZLC, or conditional zoning local commercial. The proposed use of the property is a convenience market with a fueling station. Property size is approximately 4.5 acres. Now, this is just a locational map of the property. It's outlined in red. It's located on the southwestern corner of the intersection of Perth and State Park Roads. Just across the street to the north is the New Perth Cemetery. A little ways up the road is the Perth Bait and Tackle Shop. Current zoning map. Zoning, as I mentioned before, is suburban residential, or RS. Again, the property is shaded in red, outlined in red in this map. Anything you see in purple is also RS, suburban residential. The properties you see in white are Iredell County's jurisdiction, which is basically single-family residential. Properties you see up Perth Road, where my laser pointer is, that are in blue, those are zoned highway business. One of those is a storage facility. The other is the the Perth Bait and Tackle Shop. And then the property you see in orange is a mixed residential townhome development that was approved. As far as the zoning districts go, the RS district, it's established as a district in which the principal use of land is for low-density, single-family residences, along with their customary accessory uses. The proposed district is the LC district, or the local commercial district. It's intended to provide less intense commercial and service uses to the area/neighborhood in which it is located. Such a district shall be located on major or minor thoroughfares or at crossroads not suitable for residential development. It's important to note this is a conditional zoning request. So a conditional district states that if this is approved, the developer must develop property per the concept plan, the proposed uses, and any conditions that are agreed upon between the developer and the town council. Future land use map does show the area to be special lakes uses. In this map, the property is outlined in black. Special lakes uses is shaded in blue. The color you see just to the north in the beigeish color would be medium density residential. And then that orangish color is a neighborhood commercial district. So the proposed land use is special lake uses. What this is, these areas are in the vicinity of Lake Norman. They promote low-density developments, which is 2 to 3 single-family detached homes per acre, through conventional zoning that allows a variety of open space uses, including parks, greenways, nature preserves, or agricultural uses. Associated zoning districts is RS, which is what the property is zoned. This was a concept plan that was submitted by the applicant to show a little bit of vegetation and color. As you can see with the laser pointer here, these trees are required street trees, which is along Perth and State Park Road. In the back you see the buffer, and then we have the actual building and the fuel canopy right here. This would be State Park Road, this would be Perth Road. This is the concept plan also that was submitted by the developer. We've seen this a couple times. I do want to point out a couple things that have changed since the planning board meeting. They have added a vegetative screening in front of the fuel pumps here to help screen any kind of lighting from the fuel pumps to the residential properties across Perth Road. The applicant has also extended the buffer yard on the rear side here to 30 feet and added a 4-foot berm and an 8-foot fence on the building side of that buffer yard. And then the applicant has also agreed to pay to realign the intersection of Perth and State Park Roads, which you see here in yellow, and also add, move that stoplight as needed. Of course, that would be worked out with NCDOT as both are DOT roads. As far as watershed and TIA go, this is in the Catawba protected area, so it will have to be developed per watershed regulations. The TIA threshold is 100 peak hour trips. This particular use does trip that threshold. These are the study intersections with the TIA. Main Street, Wagner Street, Perth at Autumnleaf, Perth at State Park, Perth at Clons Hill, State Park at the access point of this development, and Perth at the access point of this development. It's kind of tough to see this here, but what the TIA found is a 75-foot right-hand turn lane from Autumnleaf Road onto Wagner/Perth, and then also a 100-foot left-hand turn lane into the site from Perth Road. Community meeting was held on October 2nd. This raised concerns about traffic and site circulation, concerns regarding screening and buffering to adjacent residential properties, the project not being consistent with the surrounding residential character and future land use plan, and then concerns regarding noise, pollution, and light pollution. As a result of that meeting, there was a modification to the building facade, modification to the lighting to keep lighting on site, and the original plan had a car wash. This proposes to remove the car wash. After the planning board meeting, I already mentioned on the site plan, I'll just go over these again. The applicant has enhanced the buffer along the rear of the site, adding the additional 10 feet to 30 feet with a 4-foot berm and an 8-foot fence on top on the building side of the screen. Vehicular screening along the front of the gas canopy to screen the properties across Perth Road, and also to realign the intersection of State Park and Perth Roads, mainly to make that more of a traditional T intersection than the Y intersection that's currently there. So a little bit of history about this area. In 2018, the Troutman strategic plan named this as medium density residential. There was an area considered as an overlay district that was called the Highway 21 State Park Gateway area. It was basically a gateway to Lake Norman State Park. There was limited commercial and residential development would be appropriate. In 22, the map was updated to encompass this area in special lakes uses, and I've read that definition before, so this is the same as you saw on the other side. Spring 2025, Council created the local commercial district, which was meant for small-scale commercial development located along major thoroughfares and intersections. And then I just want to point out that the 2055 comprehensive plan is underway, and we are looking to upgrade our plan, get a new plan as Troutman has grown. Both the projections from the 2035 and 2018 plans have been greatly exceeded. We anticipate that this project be completed on sometime in December of this year. I will plug that we do have a drop-in session for the public to come in at the first step of this plan on March 30th. It's a drop-in session, 2 sessions, 11:30 to 1, 4:30 to 6. So as the LC district was created in 2025 for smaller scale commercial uses on thoroughfares located at major intersections, staff can report this request. Planning board recommendation. The planning board did, however, recommend unanimously to deny the request. These were the concerns that the planning board had. It wasn't consistent with the future land use map, and the non-residential uses are not in general conformance with the surrounding area. The board also stated concerns of traffic, site access, negative impacts on surrounding properties, and overall safety concerns with all aspects of the request. So council does have the option to approve or not approve tonight. I've just put these up there for some guidance to council. If you want to approve, you can look at the top sentence I have written. If you want to deny, you could use the bottom sentence that I've written. So with that, I will open it up for any questions the council has for me.
Any questions for Mr. Van Tresca?
Excuse me, Mr. Andrew, DOT said they would definitely consider that plan. Am I correct on that?
If the roadway, if this is approved and a condition of that approval is the roadway realignment, the DOT did say they would consider reviewing that and helping the developer design and approve that. So yes, that was confirmed with DOT.
Were there any questions in regards to the DOT's future plans to realign that intersection?
It's not on the STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Program, so there's no plans to realign that. It would probably have to happen with development if it does happen. I'll just make a reference that the Flower House Loop Houston realignment's been on the STIP now for probably 10, 15 years, and we're still waiting on that one to start. So I don't see any chance of this being realigned in the future unless something drastically changes.
So the DOT still has to approve at some point.
DOT will be the ones that will approve the alignment in the design of the realignment.
They approve it.
That's right.
And DOT is only committed to look at it.
Yes, but they've basically said that if you're going to give them money to do a project, they'll probably take it.
So I'd like to offer a comment to that. I spoke with DOT rep last night at a LNTC meeting, committee meeting, and he said that if this is a condition, that it won't be built unless that is approved, because it's a condition that the developer has offered to do. So they will take it and review it, and it's hard to give a guarantee of approval, but that's part of the terms of the condition for the development period.
Any other questions for Andrew? Okay, thank you. At this point, we will open the public hearing to the public. We will set aside 30 minutes for each side. Anyone who might have an opportunity to speak. You have 5 minutes to address the council and ask questions. Please abide by policy 51. If you've not seen that, we do have it outside. Also, we'd ask that you state your name and make sure you have signed in at the podium. So again, we will start the public hearing at this point. For those who support the development, we ask that you hold off. We're going to, I understand several of these people oppose, so I'm going to allow the opposers to go first. And so whoever signed in first might ask that we give that person an opportunity to speak first. Thank you. The first name on the list is Madison Riddle. Support. Okay, thank you. Next is, looks like Donald Long.
Name is Donald Lowe, L-O-W-E, 155 Park Crest Drive. I have a prepared statement that I'd like to read tonight, quite frankly, because my ire is so high on this matter, I'm afraid I'll forget a point. So forgive me for reading, but I'm going to read it.
Mr. Lowe, just make sure you've got 5 minutes to respect
I'll use
your
less
other.
than 5.
Thank you.
In addition to all that's been said tonight, as well as what was so well stated on February 23rd presentation, and comments before the Troutman Zoning Committee meeting, for which some of you were in attendance, I'd like to add the following and reinforce the following. This project, if approved, will serve to add a second Perth and State Park intersection. As it is, large RVs and vehicles towing boats and campers struggle to negotiate the right turn from Park State Park to Perth. This gas station, if approved, will encourage cut-through traffic, making an already dangerous intersection even more dangerous. Add to this the difficulty that will be created by vehicles coming and going through this commercial property. How will local residents get to and from town with such short ingress and egress lanes? Then there's the light nuisance to neighbors. There's the noise nuisance to neighbors. There's crime exposure to the community. Think of children in adjoining properties and an experience they'll endure trying to get to and stay asleep. Think of the clanging garbage trucks that will make noise during the wee hours of the morning when they appear to collect from the dumpsters. Think of the noise and the volume of large trucks making deliveries of fuel, groceries, and supplies at all hours of the day and night. The petitioners have made presentations to various committees already. In these presentations, they've used words such as we think, we don't think, typically, usually, etc. When asked pointed questions by the zoning committee, answers were either soft or not available. Google research says at given time, at least 60% of all subterranean fuel tanks will leak. 60%. Lastly, at the recent Troutman Town Planning Retreat, our own Mayor Young stated, and I quote, "Community members giving their opinions and voicing their concerns is important. They help guide the town so that it can grow in ways that benefit the community. Feedback also helps the town take advantage of new opportunities that may arise." Additionally, published reports of this retreat share how the group boiled down their ideas into categories: safety, communication, and partnership. Mr. Longino planned to take all of these ideas and input to develop detailed SMART goals embedded with timeframes and periodic check-ins to maintain continued focus on priorities for council consideration. I, for just one of the group here tonight, certainly hope, no, I demand, that this council takes what they say behind closed doors to action, real action. This property is zoned residential. That means residences, not gas stations. Please, folks, do your job tonight. Act on behalf of the company that elected you. Reject this request. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will hold our applause. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. It's not the community meeting, so please hold your applause. I will now ask Mr. Brandon Shulman. Support or oppose?
Oppose.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, Donald pretty much.
Please
said
state
it.
your name and
Oh,
your address.
Brandon
Thank you.
Shulman, 130 State Park Road.
Thank you.
I didn't prepare a speech today. I wasn't aware that this was going to be open to the public. Obviously, I said what I needed to say in October and on the last meeting. The notes that you may have took from Donald's speech, I urge you guys, please listen to the community, follow the plan. I apologize for not being prepared for this. But on behalf of the entire Meadow Glen subdivision, and I'm hoping that we have some support here tonight, this is not what the community wants, and please vote to take this down. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Greg, I believe, Peterson.
Good evening. Greg Peterson. I live on Morrison Farm Road. This one should be a slam dunk for the council. Current zoning is for rural residential. The strategic plan that was created by this community is for rural residential. The future land use for this property is rural residential. I also disagree a little bit with Andrew on the local commercial zoning request, because that zoning was put in place for smaller properties of less than 3 acres. This property is 4.3 acres and should be a highway business zoning request. Additionally, local commercial zoning is for properties that are not suitable for residential use. Obviously, that corner is highly suitable for residential use. as the residences on 3 sides of the property would agree, many of whom are here tonight. Now, many of you have been here long enough to remember that when that corner was a beautiful, forested, wooded corner that anyone would have loved to have lived on. The current owner went in and bulldozed down the trees, and all that's been there for the last several years is piles of dirt. That doesn't mean that we should put a gas station on it. It means we should return it to the way that it was so that people can live there peacefully within the context of what the strategic plan calls for. Additionally, I'm just going to raise this issue. The property is partly owned by the prior Troutman town manager. I'm very concerned about conflicts of interest in this case. The town manager brought forward the LC zoning while he was owner of this property. I'm surprised that the council did not ask him to recuse himself from any consideration of properties to potentially enrich himself at the cost of the residents of this community. So, I'm sorry. I look to you as protectors of Troutman, as protectors of the strategic plan, as protectors of the zoning and the future land use that we put together as a community through rounds and rounds of community input, and that we approved so that we would avoid exceptions like this, where people are trying to drop a 12-pump gas station in the middle of a residential area. Please, I highly recommend that the town council reject this rezoning request and keep the property zoning consistent with the future land use plan and the nature of the surrounding residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is, and I cannot read the name, but it looks like Alan. I was not going to try, no worries.
Hi, I'm Allison Peterson. I live on Morrison Farm Road also. I was at the last 2 meetings. I'm surprised more people didn't actually sign up to speak because we heard from a lot of people who are deeply, deeply concerned about this property. And they may not have signed up today to speak, but I'll tell you, I heard them loud and clear. And I don't live close to the property. My concern is with this local community new zoning that you approved about a year ago. I'm concerned about how vague the language is, how it can be interpreted in lots of different ways, and I'm concerned about the specific language that was used when it was presented to you, which included, you're getting a lot of text today read to you, I'm sorry about that, which said, this is for less intense commercial properties. So are you going to tell me that a gas station that's open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. is a not intense commercial property? I don't think so. And if you set that bar by approving it, then every residential property that fits loosely in these guidelines is open for development. Everyone that's on a thoroughfare, everyone that's zoned residential, that's next to houses, that's 3 acres, or in this case, more than 3 acres. So how do we stop, once you approve this, if you do, how do you stop every developer coming forward and saying, ta-da, here's a piece of property, zoned residential, that's less than 3 acres, I want to put a vape shop there, or I want to put another gas station there, or whatever, pick your poison, doesn't matter. What was presented a year ago was a daycare center or a small shop. That's a pretty big leap from a daycare center to a gas station. So that's a real concern. The last piece that really concerns me is in the language that was presented to you when you approved this was, this is to serve the purposes of the area and the neighborhood in which it is located. There is a gas station 20 feet up the road. If I need gas, I can go around the corner. There's a mini mart in that gas station. Who is this serving, the purpose serving? It is not the residents. I can tell you that for sure. So thank you, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next is Monica Norris.
Hello, my name is Monica Norris and I live on Crestview Lane. I am very nervous, so thank you for your patience with me. Yes, my name is Monica
Just
Norris.
bring the mic closer to you, that'd be fine.
Is that better? Any better? Okay. So I said, please forgive me because I'm very nervous.
Okay.
My name is Monica Norris. I live on Crestview Lane. I took a different approach to this. I wanted to do some research to gain a lot of understanding and knowledge of these very complex topics and terminologies so that I would have a reasonable argument and not an emotional argument. So I began to research something called spot zoning and found a great article, a legal summary by David Owens, that defines spot zoning as a zoning ordinance that singles out and reclassifies a relatively small tract owned by a person and surrounded by a much larger area that is uniformly zoned to relieve the small tract from restrictions which the rest of the area is subjected to. I stumbled through that, I'm so sorry. The interesting thing that I discovered through reading this is that there were many court cases that were cited where town councils or community leaders had voted in approval of zoning changes that were then overturned by the courts because they didn't pass the reasonableness test. So I started looking into how do courts define reasonableness in terms of zoning changes. And I would say after my research, I don't think this one meets those requirements. Now, the home run market did present their own reasonableness test, but unfortunately, the criteria that have been defined by the courts through the different cases set very clear markers. And the home run statement really just restated what is allowed in the new zone if it were to be approved. So one thing that is required per these outcomes of these court cases were that special features on a property, let me see if I can read it, situations where there were, so where it was overturned were situations where there were no discernible reasons to single out a small tract for differential zoning, and that was often overturned. No special features on the tract made it any more suitable than the surrounding property for industrial use. So I would argue all of those areas in that location are very similar. You can't point to that property and say this one has anything unique to it that makes it better suited to a gas station than anything else on that street. So that does not pass the reasonableness test. They didn't show any real or substantial value to the community. Courts had overturned cases where they merely approved it on the argument of convenience. They did not show this was reasonable on its effect to all, as evidenced by comments at previous public hearings, by comments today, such as noise pollution, light pollution, well water pollution, negative impacts to property values, the list goes on and on. They did not show how the effects and relative benefits and harms to both the owners of the property and the surrounding neighborhoods were in balance. So the harm and benefit is out of balance, which was proven by these cases. I've made a copy to leave with you all for your review later, because there were some really interesting points in here. At the heart of it, I don't think that this passes that test of reasonableness. And time again, courts have overturned these decisions when they have not proven reasonable. We are asking that you honor your commitment to protect and serve all of our members, and that you not approve this request.
Thank you.
You for your time.
Thank you. The next is Ms. Roberta Lowe, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Roberta Lowe, 155 Park Crest, Troutman. I'm here this evening to share with Town Council my opposition to the building of a home run on Perthon State Park. At the February 23rd Planning and Zoning Board meeting, there were 3 Town Council members at that meeting, so they saw firsthand and listened firsthand to what people had to say. I oppose this even stronger now that I have had my opportunity to do some research. Based on something that my husband said to Town Council, when J.T. Alexander and Sons were giving their presentation and the zoning committee was asking questions, their responses were vague. They were, well, if that's what you want us to do, yeah, we can do that. Maybe, I don't know. What are your hours? I'm not really sure. You don't come to a presentation and not know the answers. So based on that, I looked up their website, and they are contradictory to, some of the things on their website are contradictory to what they feel is a good location for a home run. It says that if you want to purchase an existing site or a new station, they will help you. But these are things that are of utmost importance for success. It needs to be accessible to a high-traffic interstate or highway. Well, that's not really accessible. At least I don't think so. And as council option, it says that to support, it needs to be located at a major thoroughfare. I don't think State Park and Perth Road is a major thoroughfare. They also state that if you're considering, you need to find out what the state and federal environmental laws are for a station and check out the history, because as they say, you want to make sure that there isn't any existing gas tank. You want to check the documentation on leaks and or environmental issues because, quote unquote, you don't want to clean up a mess someone else is leaving behind. Which when we requested that some type of, not survey, but something was looked into about the leaking of tanks, the gentleman who was here from JT Alexander said, well, they almost never leak. So, Troutman is growing, and there's no doubt about that. But going back to some of the things that were written about what was said at the town council planning retreat. Mayor Young, it says that you were enthusiastic about the comprehensive land plan and map update, and that it will set a tone for the future and invite community feedback throughout the process. You emphasize that the council must stay connected to these plans and documents after their adoption as they take actions in the future. This is what we're asking you to do. When you write a plan, stick to it. Don't have one-offs, two-offs. And that was even voiced by the zoning committee, that they wanted to get back to sticking with the plan. It's just a lot easier that way, then you don't have to make excuses for your one-offs and two-offs. I moved here because I love Troutman, and I want to stay in Troutman. And that is why I oppose.
Great, thank you. That is all that I have signed in at this time.
I apologize, I was late. I didn't know the rules, and I did not sign in, but I would like to speak if I may.
Okay, we've got 5 more minutes for any opposition. I don't know who is first.
Oh, go ahead. I was late.
I didn't sign in because I don't normally until I get to the podium.
Yeah,
So
I
appreciate
will
the
ask you to.
opportunity. Absolutely.
You want to sign in? That's all right. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the chance to speak here tonight. Greg and a couple of other speakers have honestly said what needs to be said. I was glad to see that they brought to the forefront something that the mayor said during your planning retreat, that the plans should be established, they should be established by the people, and then they should be followed. He was speaking of the future land use plan that's being written now in the strategic plan, but I would assume that goes to the stuff that also has been passed, that you want to stick with what's out there. I'll just be honest with you, it's a shame that we're even here talking about this tonight. The unmitigated gall of somebody wants to pick up a service station and plop it down in the middle of a residential section. knowing that it's a residential section, knowing it's zoned for lake use, with zero mention in lake use of high-traffic commercial, knowing that there's no other commercial within a half a mile of there, knowing that they went to a public meeting and received tons of negative feedback, a zoning board meeting, unanimously knocking it down, 50 people. How many people, this is a good question, because not everybody's going to get to speak. How many people are here against this tonight?
Excuse me, sir. This is a quasi-public hearing.
I understand.
It is not for you to speak to the public, it's to the
I'm
council.
speaking to you, but I asked them to.
You cannot talk to them, it is to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. That, so that's it's a nice show of hands, but we'll instruct the jury to ignore that. By right, this piece of property that was denuded by the current owner can have 8 houses built on it. It's an excellent commercial place to not build commercial. It's a great residential place. There are houses all around it. Some of you are probably involved in the real estate business, and you know there are houses up and down Perth Road. There's houses up and down State Park Road that are being built right now on this piece of property. This piece of property, they do not want the Troutman Town sewer, so they're going to build their own sewer. Where are the wells? We don't have the map up there like we did, but where are the wells for the residents that live there? Commercial sewers have to be at least 500 feet from those wells. I don't know if they've measured. I know at the last meeting I asked where the entrance was going to be off State Park Road, and the gentleman who did the TIA couldn't tell me. He said maybe 150, maybe 200. You guys were there, y'all saw it, you know. There's going to be 24-hour lighting. There's going to be fuel pumps open all day. A good point brought up at the last meeting. The majority of these fuel pumps we go to nowadays have commercials. So now somebody pulls up, there's going to be a commercial running all day. How safe is that area? How many calls for service has the home run market out at 77 had? I can't tell you. Chief Mike could tell us, but you know, that's part of the safety. We've got lighting all day. We've got trucks coming in and out all hours of the day. The other morning I went by Perth Bait and Tackle at 6:30 in the morning. There were 2 trucks sitting in their driveway offloading supplies into Perth Bait and Tackle. How's that going to be for those folks in that residential area? What we need tonight is a mindset of not why should we disapprove this, but why should we approve it? These people are coming and asking you to approve something. There shouldn't be a reason to disprove it. There should be a reason to approve it. Now I've got a whole list of stuff to disprove it. I haven't been able to come up with one. I mean, not one single solitary reason to approve it. What I can tell you is that according to Johns Hopkins School of Industrial Medicine, that, you know, when you go fill your car up and you take that nozzle out, even though you might tap it a few times, it still drips on my daggone car. Or if it don't drip on my car, it drips on the pavement or the concrete. They say that about 7 to 12 gallons a day is put into the water system just from that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move to support, and I believe Ms. Riddle had mentioned she was here in support.
My name is Maddie Riddle. I live at 172 Genesis Place, and I want to start by expressing gratitude to the council as well as the community for the opportunity to say a few words tonight. No matter which way this vote swings, I respect the council's decision. Although I know my opinion isn't the popular one tonight, I truly believe one thing we all have in common is our passion for our little town of Troutman, North Carolina. I was born and raised here in this town, My parents were born and raised here in this town, as well as my grandparents, and my great-grandmother was a Troutman. Although I just started working for JT Alexander & Son last August, I have conducted business with them through their home run market stores for the past 10 years through my previous place of employment. I know more development in this town is a bit of a touchy subject. I too have witnessed the impact the rapid growth of Troutman has had on this community. I would, however, like to offer another perspective. Since starting employment with JT Alexander & Son and Home Run Markets, I have witnessed many humble acts of kindness directly from the owners of this company. They had no idea I was planning on coming tonight, much less speaking, so sorry, David and Josh. A few weeks ago, as I was working in my office, David Alexander came in and asked if I would take Home Run Market branded promo items down to our store off Exit 45 in Troutman. He informed me a group of kids heading to a band performance a few hours away were stopping by, and he'd like to provide them with items for their trip. We loaded my car up with items, and I drove them down there. When the kids arrived, they were told to pick out whatever snacks and drinks they wanted, and the van for their trip was filled up with gas. The manager of the store kept a tab, and later in the day, David came by personally to take care of the bill. On April 14th and 15th, any staff of our office has the opportunity to sign up to participate in a Special Olympics event at Statesville High School. I will be joining David Alexander and Josh Daly, both in this room, and many other members of our staff to help and provide support for the event. We have a chaplain that is provided to all employees, both Home Run Markets and JT Alexander, should any employee need counseling, mental health support. This is provided cost-free to the employees and is 100% covered by the company. The chaplain stopped by weekly to check in on everyone and offer help, resources, and prayer to anyone in need. I've had them in my office praying with me over my mom's health many times the past few months. It's a blessing to work for a business where their acts reflect their values. These are just a couple examples of the generosity of this company that impacts our community. If you have children at any of the local schools in Troutman, I promise your child's school will benefit from this company. I don't know what Sheetz, Dunkin' Donuts, Zaxby's, etc. does to support the community, but I have suspicions this tiny town of Troutman sees very little benefit from their success. I don't recall seeing near the outrage or opposition for those projects, even though the traffic nightmare they create is much greater than what I believe this store would cause. All I've heard tonight is how this property can instead be used for 8+ houses. Why on earth would we want to continue to overpopulate Troutman without the businesses to support them, specifically locally owned businesses that are pouring back into the community? I'll wrap this up by saying, although I know more development isn't what a lot of people in Troutman want, we do need businesses to support the rapid population increase, and personally, I'd rather see more local owned businesses like Home Run Markets that I know will pour back into Troutman. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last one on my list. I would ask, are you in support or opposition? Okay.
Sorry, sir.
I'll keep it shorter, save some time for the committee. Oh, I apologize.
And the notebook back, please. Awesome. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you, sir. So like I said, I'll save a little bit of time for you. Again, Brandon Price, 113 Streamwood Road, Troutman, a resident of Troutman. I've been here since 2016, going on 10 years in May. I have a young family. We've been here and we've seen Troutman grow. We love Troutman. We came here to get away from Mooresville a little bit, and then Mooresville followed us. I think putting in 8 houses is something, but when I moved to Falls Cove, it was my Falls Cove. Now Lennar, D.R. Horton, they're just stacking and stacking and stacking. We're gonna stack 8 more homes, or we can put a beautiful store that's gonna provide for my family. I'm here to tell you, like, I don't feel comfortable with my wife going to Perth State and tackle at night. It's not happening. So if we can have something like this that could support the community with these thousands and thousands of homes that we're being approved, then I'm all for that. I think there needs to be some more support for the community. I believe in Troutman. I love Troutman. I'm not moving out of Troutman. But I think Troutman needs a little bit more to support the community and the people that live in it. And that's why I believe that the store would make a greater impact and support on the community than what it's at right now. So that's all I got for you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else for support? Is the applicant here would like to speak? Excuse me, this is not time for question.
Mayor,
Please sign
Council,
in if you don't mind. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, thanks for hearing our case tonight. I'm David Alexander, owner of JT Alexander Son and Home Run Markets. I think I did not know Maddie was going to be here tonight. I was shocked when she came in. I didn't know she was going to speak, but I think she said a lot about our company. You know, everybody talks about wanting local business. I'm about as local as they can get. My grandfather's from Statesville. My dad's from Statesville. I live in the house I grew up in Statesville. My grandfather started our company in 1935 in Mooresville as a Texaco consignee. My dad came out of the Navy and came back and worked, and when he retired, I took over. So I bought the company in 2010. We opened our first Home Run Market in 2011 at Exit 36. When I opened that store up, I told my manager, I said, we're going to be day makers. We're going to make somebody's day every day, because customer service is the most important thing. And then we wanted well-lit, clean facilities, and that's kind of what we've done. We do as much as we can to put the money back into these stores, make them nice, friendly. I think our staff, if everybody's been to the one on 45, I think you can agree we got a pretty good group of folks there, and that's not just that store, it's all 18 that we operate. I grew up on the lake. When I talk to my friends in Huntersville and Cornelius in that area, I say, well, why don't y'all come up to my end of the lake? This is where I grew up. I grew up off of Morrison Farm Road at my brother-in-law's house. So anyway, I can say all I can about who we are. I think that Maddie did a really good job. I think we've already pleaded our case at the community meeting and the planning board. I'm sorry I was out of town for the planning board meeting. I couldn't be there. We have done the process. We've gone through the community meeting. We listened to the community and what they wanted us to do. I've checked everything off the list. The last thing on the list was the intersection, that it wasn't safe, that they were worried about the traffic. So we worked with DOT. I've talked to the local DOT engineer. I've talked to Vicki Sawyer. I've talked to the board of DOT. There's no money to do this intersection. It's not going to get done unless a developer does it. So I said on Monday when I got back in town, I said, hey, let's figure this out. We'll do the intersection. We'll make it safe. So, you know, we put the buffers in. We've taken the car wash out. We've changed the look of the store. We want to be part of this community. We live, work, and play. We said that before, but we actually do. We also give back. We've given back to all the, Boys and Girls Club, to the Special Olympics, to Levine's Children's Hospital. We do South Idaho High School. I mean, when we're in a community, we are here because we're employing the people from the community. We have 180 employees. 3/4 of them live in Idaho County and work here. That's where most of our stores are. So I'm not going anywhere. We've been here for 90 years last year. I've got 3 girls, and hopefully one of them will come back and work for me. So anyway, that's all I got to say about who we are. I want to turn it over to our engineer and let him go through the plan with you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Appreciate you guys hearing me. You'll be signing.
I did.
Thank you guys for having me. As David had mentioned, we've been to the community meeting. We had a productive discussion at planning board. and have worked since planning board to bring you this plan that you see before you. I don't know if it's on y'all's screens or not. The biggest things that we've heard from the outset were the intersection of State Park Road and Perth Road and the alignment. We've worked with the District 12 office in Statesville to come up with an alignment that makes sense to essentially mirror that signal. We've added an 8-foot privacy screen that will be wooden on top of a 4-foot berm for a total height of 12 feet. We've tried to protect the backs of the lots that back up to this store by keeping all of the lighting in the front, and I think we're at 0.3-foot candles per feet, so that's technical talk for no lighting in the back. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have about the plan. I think there's some information that is in the 2018 strategic plan that Andrew touched on, specifically the Highway 21 State Park Gateway. It's mentioned in the 2018 strategic plan on page 32 and the 2035 land use plan on page 81. It's my understanding that while the map was changed, the plan has to be used in its entirety. Specifically, I've got some items for you if you'd like them, but it is you all's plan. I'll just read from them. This is from the 2018 strategic plan. The comprehensive land use plan is designated to provide Troutman with a proactive guide for managing future physical growth and development over the next 15 years. Overarching visions, goals, and identified challenges and opportunities will be incorporated into this plan, as the 2035 plan represents a solid foundation for near and long-term planning. Key visions, issues, and opportunities from this plan are outlined below. The following page shows the 2035 future land use map. Underneath here, I'm just passing it up. You see again reference to the most current 2018 strategic plan. It references back that commercial uses are appropriate in that overlay. So this wasn't just a random residential property that shows up where you look to put a commercial use. It is along a major thoroughfare as identified in the recommendations for the zoning district that we're requesting. I think we've kind of exhausted the plan, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Appreciate your time.
Council, any questions for Mr. Sloan?
Does this intersection realignment change any of the other improvements that you were to do in the area?
It will not. All of the requirements from the TIA will still be incorporated. This is above and beyond and would be included as a condition of this rezoning approval. The estimates that we got came back at roughly a $512,000 capital investment just in that area of yellow that you see, and to move the signal. I think somebody mentioned a STIP project map. There is another method of funding that I think we talked about. I can give you guys these. All this information is publicly available. These are maps of a snippet of the STIP project map that shows nothing, as you guys know, but the spot safety money. There's also a map that's publicly available that shows where spot safety projects are happening. There's not going to be anything on that map either. I just wanted to provide those for you guys as a reference.
Any other questions for Mr. Sloan? Excuse me. He's talking to the council at this point. So this is council can make the decision to ask the question. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Sloan?
How does this realignment change what we heard, the top concern about the taking a right off of State Park Road onto Perth Road?
The concern being physically being able to make the turn?
Yeah. Does this improve that intersection to where they can make a right-hand turn
Yes.
and not swing across both lanes of traffic? And
Correct. So when you go by the site, you'll notice that the comms pedestal in that corner is flat and mashed. So there's if you're driving, I think there's a gentleman here who frequently hauls a boat and, has to stop traffic on Perth to actually get out. So the intent behind not only just aligning it to where you're coming in at a 90-degree angle, there will also be bigger radii in that flare. So, you know.
You mind grabbing the laser pointer to show us
Oh, yeah, sure.
what you're talking about?
Do my best. Darth Vader. So there, that's the radius that you're concerned about. So whenever we go to realign this, because of the volume and the type of traffic that State Park Road sees going to, you know, coming off of Perth in both directions, those radii are going to be wide enough to support the typical design vehicle as a WB62. That's an 18-wheeler, 53-foot long trailer with a truck and a cab. So it's not going to be a boat and an RV that we designed to. It'll be the WB62, which is more stringent than that. But I think that Andrew's here too, but I think from a sight distance perspective, we've checked those boxes. But again, the intent is to improve a situation that is problematic, as we've heard probably, you know, more times than I think we all could count.
A top concern I heard in the planning board meeting was the sight distance, right? That the current intersection is just past a hidden curve where you can't see when you're coming northbound on Perth Road, and you have somebody sitting to make a left-hand turn and they have to swing wide anyways. So it appears to me that this moves that intersection south on Perth Road and maybe puts it to where it's seen on both sides?
Yeah, so whenever we go to do this, we're going to have to show DOT our intersection sight distance profiles. So essentially what we do when we do the engineering, you model yourself sitting in a car 3.5 feet above the pavement, and you look, I believe it's 10 miles per hour for every 5 miles of speed limit. So I think it's a 35 posted here. So that's 45 design speed. So your sight distance in either direction, unimpeded by landscape or, you know, actual grade would be 450 feet. So we'll show that as a part of our engineering documents to DOT. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I have an environmental question to ask.
Sure. I'm not an environmental engineer, but I play one on TV.
So, a big issue that I have, first of all, I want to say this for everybody that's here. I am not a politician. I only ran because I felt like things were not being done the way that I felt like they needed to be done, and that's the reason why I'm sitting here today. So I'm going to speak my mind, because if you guys don't vote for me next time, I don't really care, because I'm not really a politician anyway. So with that said, I feel like safety is the #1 thing we need to be worried about here. It's all about safety for me. 100% about safety. And right now, I do not feel like this is safe for our community. I do not feel like it is safe for the people who live right behind this building. I do not feel like it's going to be safe when they supposedly, and I'm saying that because we don't know that the DOT is going to approve this, and we've seen this happen before where they've said, we're going to approve this. Yeah, well then they don't. Come on guys, we've seen Highway 73, we've seen Highway 150, we've seen all these roads. Please think that through when you're making these statements about the roads.
Before you go on, hold your thought. Any other questions for the applicant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. So my question is this. When your new gas station goes there, who is going to clean up Perth Bait and Tackle? Because they're not going to be able to clean that up, because they're not going to be able to sell it. Because it will be an environmental issue at that point. So I guess my question is, who's going to clean that up? Because I've seen this happen where we've actually had properties that sit because they have gas tanks in the ground. You can't purchase them unless you spend $1 million, and trust me, I've looked. About $1 million plus to fix those properties. You have got me, all you had to say was civic for me. You had me at that. But my question is, who is going to clean that up? Let me tell you who? Us.
Oh, Ms. Parker.
No, there's a state trust, there's a state trust fund that the state has, and those tanks that they have registered there are registered, it's like an insurance policy. So the state trust fund, there's a $20,000 deductible, $100,000 deductible. After they meet that, the state trust fund will take care of that.
So I'm
It's an insurance policy we pay in every year. It's like, we pay $4,000 a year for each site for the insurance policy.
I guess, did this just happen?
No, this has been going on since 1982.
Okay, so we looked at
If it's
purchasing
an abandoned
one.
tank, that's different. If it's an abandoned tank, they actually have these tanks registered, so whoever owns bait tackle owns those tanks.
And they're registered,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
like the
They,
old gas
if you look at,
station was.
any gas station you go to, we stopped over at the Mobile to get a bottle of water. There's a permit in the window, and it said his expires 9/26, so they have to do that every year. So if you look in the window, you'll see the permit. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then my next question, can you guarantee me that there will never be a gas spill?
Nope.
Okay.
I can't guarantee you, but I can tell you that all of our equipment is double wall with interstitial linings. We monitor the lining, we monitor the pipes, we have triple wall pipes. What we have to spend is $1 million just to put the infrastructure in underground. So this stuff didn't fly by night. It's not what Perth Bait and Tackle has, because they've got single wall steel tanks.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put in exactly what we need to do, and it's not us that tells us what to do, it is the state of North Carolina and the federal government, so.
How far is the sewage going to be from their wells? Did you ever get a number how far that would be?
We're at 100 feet.
The minimum requirement's 100 feet. From a single-family domestic water supply well to any septic system, whether it's commercial.
So we'll be well away from that.
Do you know, is that further than the required septic systems that are on those properties that have wells?
I'm gonna guess that these homes, I'm not sure how old these homes are. I can't speak to whether they're all on water well supply or not, but.
Well, we know that you're doing septic because we don't have any
Right.
wastewater lines in the area.
Right.
Right, so unless they're just dumping on top of the ground, they're definitely on septic systems.
Right.
Correct. Oh, you're asking about this from septic to septic.
Yeah.
I'm not a septic designer, but as a part of this project, if you're so great when we approve, we'd have to work with, probably the county, or we can do an engineered option permit, but they're, we're not just gonna.
Yeah, there'll be requirements.
I don't know.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, you have heard from Mr. Ventresca, you've heard from the community, and you've heard from the applicant. I will now declare this public hearing closed. We will get my agenda with all our paperwork that we just received. We will now consider ordinance 0326, titled "An Ordinance Changing the Zoning Classification of the After Described Property from Suburban Residential to Conditional Zoning, Local Commercial, CZLC, known as CZLC 2502 Home Run Market." Is there a motion regarding this ordinance?
I would like to make a motion that for case number CZLC 2502, I recommend that we deny that request.
Motion's on the floor to deny it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made, received a second. Any other question or comment?
I do have some comments. I've been following this case pretty closely. Some things that I consider of the people that elected me in. I know some spoke that they voted for us on council and that that's the community that potentially the mayor was referring to. I will say the people that voted me in here to improve infrastructure and to improve the road systems and the other things that are within our control. This is directly in line with the very things that I was asked to do being here on the council and to try and encourage being done. Safety concerns like wide intersections that are very dangerous and the sweeping about, as we've heard mentioned numerous times. My only concern is how long before the state finds this on their STIP project, which seemingly takes 15, 20 plus years in order to have anything done. How many lives have to be lost before the DOT even starts to look at it? And this developer was willing to make an investment of over $500,000 to improve that. And I know that, some people shrug and don't care. If that's my child, I hope everybody cares and doesn't just shrug. Because as vehicles make these wide turns and head-on collisions happen with people that can't see around blind corners, I hope at that point, that we reconsider what the offer was here. Other things too, we have a neighborhood in that area, Saddlehorn, that was originally proposed as higher density homes that went in, but nobody came in here to speak about the Saddlehorn going in because they built in the county, and they built just a couple less homes, but no less generated the same, if not more traffic than a bunch of townhomes where people would have lived, maybe single parents or parents with one child, but definitely not a 5 or 6 bedroom home where they're living with 4 or 5 kids and have 9 cars in the driveway, generating 3 to 4 times as many trips a day. As far as this area, I mean, this is in the middle of 2 island annexations that we have, one down Morrison Farm Road, and just the regards of Perth Bait and Tackle, we don't have a gas station in Troutman that has a bathroom to use. Anybody ever been in Perth Bait and Tackle? Can't use their bathroom. They don't have one. Really? The gas stations in town, they also don't have bathrooms that you can use. These state park residents, we've heard about the amount of traffic through there and everything else. Well, 8 more homes, that generates traffic on top of the already million-plus visitors that are recorded going to State Park. There's 2 entrances to State Park, one in the front, right here in Perth Road, and then the other one in the back side is St. John's Chapel. I don't understand the outcry of this, and also the one voter, stated voter, that lives here in the community, and then all the others that they aren't. They're not going to hold us accountable. I wish you would annex in to hold us accountable, and or get a hold of your legislators and petition for ETJ rights if you live in the ETJ to vote. But you're all here trying to control what we want to do, what the Troutman residents are going for, and not considering that the voters that hold us accountable do want this.
Are you addressing us or the council?
I'm making an open address. This is my comment.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. He can make statements, okay? He's a council member. He was voted in. He can make statements. This is an opportunity when we're going through a public hearing or a process on hearing for the council members to voice their position. That's what's happening. Any other comment?
I'd like to make a few. I looked at, made a few notes since I'm older, so I gotta write down notes. The Planning and Zoning Board denied this because it was not consistent with our land use map for special land use. It hasn't changed since that meeting I was at. The other thing that bothered me about this, probably more than anything, is that the public hearings and the times I went around different communities, I even visited Perth Bait and Tackle, I visited some other places, but there was 0 community support at the public hearings and my visits. That kind of concern me. I even had someone come to my door to make sure I knew that they were against it. The septic tank being set there bordering somebody's house, I don't think too much of that. But the other area, outside of that, home run markets, I don't have a problem with them. I'd like to see the ones at 45 or even over out over 42 where we got that blank lot. We've had gas stations been there for been permitted to be there for about 3 or 4 years now. But we still haven't got one. Now I think 7-Eleven is the last one supposed to be there. Anyhow, the biggest concern I have is, based on my experience, been on council before, is that the condition would say the developer is prepared to realign the intersection should the request be approved by DOT. I look back at all the things we're waiting on DOT approval, Firehouse Loop, Houston Road, it's taking forever, and They hold up properties and, you know, piece of property, they do a lot of things like that. We've had the Tally Street sidewalk, how long have we waited for that? And it's still not there. So those kind of things kind of scare me. Well, I just double checked with Andrew a little while ago. If we turn down this facility, these people, this home run market, they only have to wait 30 days, just over a year, like because the state law changed last year. So they get DOT approval, if it's next month, 2 months, they know exactly what that alignment is, come back, sell it to the community, if that's what that works, and then maybe they start seeing the support, then it allows me to feel like I should maybe go along. We get the road straightened out, which the DOT won't do it, but they'll pay for it, which I appreciate them doing that. But then maybe doing that and then selling it, reselling to the community. To have zero support just blew my mind. I haven't seen that before. So, you know, I just recommend my fellow councilman look at turning this down, let DOT do their answer, because I know they don't answer overnight, and then they come right back at us, fine, then they get a second public hearing about fine again. They give the people a different story, you know, what they're gonna do then, and maybe if you thought about it, see how they're fixing the road, and you got, me side that issue is one you'd rather have that gas station get that done. But you're surprised with it tonight, saying I was surprised with it yesterday. I've always not been comfortable with developers come up with some big game winner right at the last minute. Most of them haven't worked out since I've been on council.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I'd just like to add too, as I was cut off because I didn't get to the realignment, and just to reiterate the DOT. The DOT delays on all these other projects are because they're waiting to be funded by the taxpayers. This is a project funded by a private developer. As we know on I-77, when funded by private developers, they build, and they build quickly because they want to get in and out of their construction. They don't drag it out for another 25 years before they decide to build it. And not only that, our whole entire process of conditional zoning is, if this is not approved, they will not be building their home run market. That's the end of my comment.
Thank you. Any other comment? So motion's on the floor, has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition?
No.
Opposed.
Okay, opposition, the ayes have it. So that means that we will not have a passage of the ordinance change. We still need to read a consistency statement. I would ask that you read the consistency statement in full.
A motion regarding consistency for case number CZLC 2502. Rezoning to CZLC is inconsistent with the 2018 future land use map due to the future land use map showing the property to be developed as special lake uses, as the development is non-residential and does not fit within the definition of special lake uses. Furthermore, non-residential development is not in conformance with the surrounding area.
A motion regarding statement of consistency, is there a second? Motion is made, receive the second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposition?
Opposed.
No.
Ayes have it. Consistency statement is entered into the record. Thank you. I would say, again, appreciate the public input. I appreciate Mr. Alexander wanting to be part of our community. I think the opportunities that were presented on both sides make the decisions for this council very difficult. And again, I appreciate those of you who are willing to follow civility in these chambers. Again, this is a quasi-public hearing when we have these meetings. And again, we appreciate that feedback. And again, appreciate you all participating in that process. So again, thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is a annexation case, which I'll turn over to Mr. Ventresca.
Being the action the board just took with the denial of the rezoning request, I would ask the applicant if they care to withdraw their annexation application.
Applicant has asked to withdraw that item from the agenda. We will move on to the next item. I will pause for a moment. Chief. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is item annexation case AX 2602, Paul Combs to rezone .61 acres, pin 4732134693, located at 414 Old Mountain Road. I'll turn it over to Mr. Ventresca and open this public hearing.
Thank you. This is a voluntary annexation request of .61 acres. Applicant is Paul Combs. The zoning is Iredell County RA, residential agricultural. Location is 414 Old Mountain Road. This is a non-contiguous rezoning, or excuse me, annexation request. The reason for this request is the property owner is requesting town water. A little bit more in depth, it's the property you see outlined here in, oh, sorry about that, the wrong button. Property you see outlined here in red. It's showing that it's 4 parcels. Those 4 tiny parcels have been basically combined into one, which is the 0.61. It's an under construction single-family home built on town water and septic. So with that 0.61 acre parcel, that single-family home is the only thing that will ever be built on it. And that's the basic gist of this annexation request.
Any questions for Mr. Ventresca?
So it is combined to one parcel on a deed?
That's right, yep.
Okay.
Yep, so it's got the tax map didn't show it, but in your packet, there's just one parcel number.
Any other questions for Mr. Ventresca? Okay. I turned around the last rezoning request. Is the applicant here who would like to speak?
The applicant is not here tonight.
Thank you. Anyone from the public like to speak on this annexation request? Okay, we will now close this public hearing. We will consider approval of ordinance 0526, an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Troutman, non-contiguous, 414 Old Mountain Road. Is there a motion?
Make that motion to approve the request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made, received a second. Any other question or comment? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. The next item is to rezone, and that's a rezoning case RZ 2602. Again, the applicant is Paul Combs. To rezone .61 acres located at 414 Old Mountain Road from Iredell County residential agriculture to town of Troutman suburban residential. I will now open this public hearing, turn it over to Mr. Ventresca.
Thanks again. This is the second part of this request. So the owner and property owner and applicant are all the same. Again, this property is zoned Iredell County RA as it sits. The request is to rezone the property to RS, which is the town of Troutman Suburban Residential District. This is to access town water per policy they're required to annex, which we just had the property annexed. Use of the property is single-family residential. Property size is .61 acres. And I'll state with the RS district, the minimum lot size is a half acre, so this lot cannot be subdivided any further. So a single family home is all that's ever going to go on this property unless it's redeveloped by a developer years down the road. Location, once again, is 414 Old Mountain Road, which is just to the northwest of South Iredell High School. Current zoning map, it is Iredell County, residential agricultural. Really the surrounding area is, the closest town to Troutman zoning is the RS district, which you see in the purple color. The RS district for the town of Troutman is the most close to the current zoning in Iredell County, the ICRA. So those zoning districts do match up pretty much word for word. Land use map, the future land use map did not address this property. When the future land use map was created, there was an annexation agreement between the town of Troutman and the city of Statesville. This was on the city of Statesville side, but as you can see, across the street is low density residential. That's RS, so this would fit with what's across the street. So the recommendation is the RS district does align closest to how it's currently zoned, and therefore staff can recommend approval of this request. And I'll accept any questions the council has on this portion of the request.
Any questions for Mr. Ventresca regarding this rezoning? Okay. Anyone here from the public like to respond to this rezoning request? Okay, hearing none, I will now close this public hearing. We will now consider ordinance 0626, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of the after described property from Iredell County residential IC to RA to suburban residential RS. Is there a motion regarding this ordinance?
Make a motion to approve the annexation.
Motion is made. Rezoning request, RZ 2602. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made. Receive a second. Any question or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. The next item is to consider a statement of consistency, and I would ask that you read the full statement.
Though not addressed in the 2018 strategic plan, the suburban residential district is consistent with the lower density single-family residential uses in the area. The request is reasonable and in the public interest as it is consistent with the zoning designations in the local area, and lower density residential uses are found in the immediate areas.
Okay. Statement of consistency has been read. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. The next item is public comments. We allow public to speak to the council, to address the council with comments or concerns. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Sign in at the podium and state your name. Anyone like to address the council?
You got me.
You have to sign in there? Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't start in 3 minutes. When I came here tonight was just to speak on one thing, and that is, I'm sorry, Craig Edwards. We don't want to be like Mooresville, and we don't want to do things like Mooresville, especially in town hall. But Mooresville has one idea that I think is pretty good. On their zoning signs, actually they call them public meeting signs, I believe. They have, so obviously they're going to put it out on the property just like we have, say, at State Park in Perth. But on those signs, they have the date and the time of the meeting.
Now, Troutman, with our new administration, is doing a fantastic job on social media. I'm telling you, bang up. But not everybody has social media. Someone like my brother who lives in the dark ages and calls me and says, will you post this on Marketplace for me? So I just think it's a good idea, and I'd like to see the council. I talked to Andrew earlier. He thought it seemed to be a good idea too. So maybe something the council would consider getting behind and saying, hey, maybe we change these out a little bit. The time and date is changeable on those signs, so it's not like you're buying a new sign every time. And they're a little bit more substantial than the signs that have been mowed down 2 or 3 times down at Perthon State Park. I did have one thing to say. I wanted to say it during my presentation, but I ran out of time. Probably, yeah, everybody on there is old enough to know Lou Holtz, the coach who just passed away, as well as public speaker. Coach Holtz says there's several things you need to live your life by. But one of the main things he says, do the right thing. There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. If you do the right thing, you will build trust. And if you build trust, you can build a relationship. This council, wrong or not wrong, has a problem with trust. I see it every day on Facebook. Oh, they're bought and paid for. Whoever has the money is going to get it. And quite honestly, since your new administration, I've tried to defend you. I've encouraged people who are against things to come in here, and I've encouraged people who are for things to come here. That's people outside the city limits whose lives may be affected, who may not vote for you, but whose lives may be affected by your decisions, who have a right to express their opinions. One more quick thing. I do have a concern if we're going to start using road construction to decide zoning projects. In your consent agenda tonight, you consented to take $1.5 million from a developer who had agreed to build roads and put that in a fund to build later.
Thank you.
So if you're going to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next, anyone else like to speak? Please sign in and state your name.
My name is Albert Vagnuzzi. My question actually is for Mr. Longino, if I may. I live at 191 Crown Piece in Troutman. My question is, I'm in Weathers Creek, and we heard about them coming to do some road work and all, and I'm just wondering if you're still up on the case, and I haven't really seen much going on, so that's why I'm asking.
We'll address it in just a moment.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Thank you. Please sign in and state your name.
Hi, my name is Debbie Page. I'm here to ask folks to get behind the 3-on-3 tournament that Coach Mariah Johnson is having on April 11th to support the women's basketball team at South Iredell High School. I would love to see the police department and the town staff and the fire department and different clubs and students, community members form that 3-on-3 team. They can be co-ed, all male or all female, doesn't matter. I don't think there's an age thing, maybe 15, 16, I'm not really sure. You can check online about that, but I would love to see folks get out there and support our female basketball team at South Iredell High School, April 11th. I think it's from 9 to 3. We'll be in conjunction with the 2nd annual Rurotan Club Spring Craft Fair that we're having. We already have 80 plus vendors signed up, and we still have weeks of sign up to do, so I think it's going to be a big craft fair. April 11th, 9 to 3. Please support our community, support our young lady athletes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is still Don Lowe, 155 Park Crest Drive. I'd like to express my disappointment with certain elements of tonight's wrap-up prior to the vote from this council. Certain elements look directly at the audience, address them directly, knowing there was not going to be the opportunity for them to respond. Furthermore, certain elements of this council gave priority of funding for roads, and I understand safety, but gave all consideration for that and no consideration for the neighbors that are affected directly and deeply by this. That's all I have, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay.
I'm Gwen Spain, and I can ask you anything? I can ask you anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sign in and we're good.
I would like for you to consider the leaf pickup, because you stopped leaf pickup in February. People don't get out and rake leaves and stuff in February. Mainly March, they usually get out and rake leaves, but then we don't have nowhere to put them because you don't pick them up. And also, I would like for you to consider lowering the speed limit on Tally Street, because they fly by here, by there, and you have a sign there saying lower your speed. That don't help. I don't see too many police cars coming through there. So I would like for you to lower the speed limit.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I will now close the public comment. And I will go to the next item on the agenda, elected official reports and comments. I'll start with our elected officials, and I'll start to my left, Mr. Jaruzelski.
I have no more comments at this time.
Okay. Ms. Harris?
I have a couple of comments. Thanks everyone for coming out. We truly appreciate your comments, regardless of the side that you were on. We're glad that you took time. Is my time up?
Yeah. Your time is up. I'm cutting you off.
Right.
Did you state your name? Did you state your name?
I didn't state my name.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you more than you know. Sometimes this room is completely empty. I like seeing people. I'm an extrovert. But anyway, thank you all for coming out and voicing your opinion. We truly appreciate that. And I do see Mr. Edwards advocating a lot for the town and encouraging people to come out. So if you're listening and you're not here, please come out the next time. Even if it's not anything that's controversial, just come out and see us. We appreciate that. The second thing I wanted to say was, and it's about food. We welcome the Waffle House to our town. That's all I wanted to say. Y'all see my pen? I have a Waffle House pen. But anyway, Mr. Mayor, that's all I had to say. I had to talk about food.
Thank you. Mr. Nell?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Bartlett?
I would also like to invite everyone out on April the 11th for a race that we have for Miles for Matt. So, but I have nothing else. Thank you. Thank you very much for being out here. We do appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
And again, I don't have anything other than glad to see a good crowd come out supporting the community. That's what makes that town strong.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for, again, your participation. As I've stated in the past, the council has to make very difficult decisions. And I don't vote much. I'm not asking for it, by the way. But again, I appreciate the citizens' understanding that council members need to hear and they need to receive the feedback in a manner in which is civil, civility is not always thing of the day in our communities today, and again, that's what we want in Troutman. That's who our community is, and that's who we want to be. And so again, I appreciate that. I'm thankful for, again, council taking the opportunity to weigh in on their positions. I know there were comments that, you know, on both sides, and sorry, Mr. Harris, I did hear pros and cons for folks tonight. And again, I appreciate people willing to stand up and provide their positions in a way that allow people to make informed decisions. May not be the decisions that we all thought were, you know, in our favor, but I think it makes sense for, again, us to be civil and hear each other out. I do want to say, again, I appreciate the work of the staff over the last month and what they do every day. I think there was a couple of comments made from the public that I'll open it up as Justin gets to his comments that maybe we want to come back and address. So I'll turn it over to you.
Sure, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'd be happy to chat with you more afterward, but the quick update is that they've been in contact with us. The weather slowed some things down. I know they did pour some sidewalks this past week, I think, and they've been trying to mobilize for that actual paving. But again, the weather keeps getting in the way. But they do send us at least a weekly update. Andrew's been in contact with them, so happy to chat more afterward, though, if you want to. A few more things, Mr. Mayor. The deadline for Citizen of the Year and Organization of the Year is coming up. April 20th is the deadline for that, so that should be on our website. If not, you can reach out to the clerk's office and she can get anybody a nomination form. There are some also in the lobby. Wanted to thank everyone for their patience while we've done some sewer line improvements on Wagner Street and on Eastway this week, sometimes at the same time, because I found myself not knowing which way to go. But they should actually be wrapping up within the next few days, so we'll be beginning that project complete soon. I wanted to say thanks to Troutman Police Department, Troutman Fire Department for their response to the overturned dump truck earlier this week. Another roadway mishap, but they got it cleaned up, and it was as minor of an incident as it could have been. Ms. Harris stole my next point. Waffle House is open. Currently, I will mention, currently they're open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. I think they're still staffing up, so they're not 24 hours yet, but thanks to everybody for coming out for that. And then I think Andrew has one more update, one more reminder about the comprehensive land use plan.
So I plugged it a little bit while I was speaking earlier, but I just want to once again state that we are going to have a comprehensive land use plan community workshop that's open to the public. We're seeking your feedback, so please come out. This is the first of, I believe, we're going to have 3 during this process. This particular one takes place on Monday, March 30th. There are 2 different sessions. It's drop-in style. The first one would be from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the second one is going to be from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, you know, if you come in at the end, we're not going to kick you out. But anyhow, we invite the community to come out, very much so, and look forward to any kind of feedback. The consultant's leading the charge here, so I don't know the format yet, and we'll figure that out once we get closer to that date.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to mention that we will have some additional ribbon cuttings coming up. We had a quote-unquote ribbon cutting for Waffle House the other morning, but we've got some other ones scheduled. Those should be on your calendars. But just wanted to mention that to the public because we want to try and get around all those new businesses and spotlight them as well.
Anything else?
It's on your calendar, March 26th.
11 a.m. I think I saw March 26th is 11. Thursday.
It's a Thursday, March 26th, yes.
I thought it was today and it was raining out, and I was like, did I miss it?
It's at 11 a.m.
So,
it's going to be for the downtown businesses, so Troutman Chiropractic, Wagner Street Bistro, and Troutman Provisions.
so a couple of things. Ms. Olangino, there was a question about leave and limb pickup.
Yes.
Right now it ends on
It ends in February.
Okay. So we're asking council to reconsider that maybe for the next meeting, put it on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Unless folks want to entertain it now. Again, we're in March. That would be in April by then.
Repeat your request, entertain what?
Thought process in terms of extending leaf and limb pickup.
I'll make a motion, we extend it to the month of March.
I'll second.
Motion is made to extend leaf and limb pickup to the month of March. Is there a second? I'll proceed a second. I keep cutting you off tonight. I don't know why. I know. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, I will assume Gina's not here. She'll bring us, I was reading your mind.
Yes, sir.
Budget amendment to that. So,
We'll also, so we contract out that service, and if there's any issue with starting that back up, I'll let you all know, but otherwise we'll proceed.
okay.
On a question, if we could just include that in our next newsletter with our water bill to go out to the community, that we're extending the leaf pickup to March.
The other question we had was around speed limits. Chief, I don't know if you have any comments on Tally.
We have had complaints on Tally. Our officers have been out there trying to enforcement. We have like 4 LiDAR operators, which is their best way that we've been catching anybody. When you guys are sitting out there running radar in a car, people, they're more visible. People are slowing down. When they went out on LiDAR, they're able to get out of the vehicle and stand beside the road or something. We've got some speeders. So we haven't had any collisions on Calvin Street.
Can I make a comment? Especially, and Andrew's gonna be sick of me, everybody's gonna be sick of me, except for the people who live on Tally. But especially with no sidewalk there, it's just more and more dangerous, so I just wanted to make that comment, have it in our, in our record, that sidewalk is crucial.
It is right now one of their focus enforcement areas where the officers are supposed to be out several times a day running radar on the
Current limit is 35. Okay. It's not a community.
I think is that a DOT road?
I think it is. Yeah. We just made. Yeah.
It's a DOT road.
It's a DOT road.
Yes.
Okay. It's not a town road, and it's a DOT road. Okay. Yeah. If you can try to pick up a little bit more on the enforcement piece, and then ask the guys. Thank you. Any other comment?
I was gonna say thank you to Justin, because I don't think anyone said it tonight, that I really appreciate all of the, information that he's sharing to the community and to us. It is helping us when we're out, because people are asking us, and I'm able to answer what's going on with Wagner. Oh, well, let me tell you what's going on with Wagner, because Justin has let me know. So, thank you, that has been very appreciated for me, and for others, so.
Thank you. I think the last item, Ms. Lowe made a comment, just to let you know, again, when we're in a public hearing, the public's welcome to address the council. Again, we appreciate that. It may not align with the comments that the council members may have. I'm speaking for them. But we ask that you talk to the council, speak directly to them, and they have an opportunity to speak directly to you. And so that's what happens during our comment period when we're doing motions regarding a particular issue. And so, again, just wanted to respond to your question. If a council member responds to the public, it is their position, who they are. You're welcome to meet them for coffee, take them out for dinner, try to get to know them, tell them, hey, I'd like to talk to you, to get to know you more. Hopefully some of that will come out, and people will be able to not feel always defensive, right? And again, my goal is, at any point in time for us to be civil, right? And we may agree to disagree, but again, I appreciate the civility in the chambers. So again, thank you for that.
And for me, I appreciated the comment, the debate. I didn't have a question, I had a statement.
Absolutely.
It was about the inaccuracies that we were not afforded the ability to counter those until I stood up.
Yeah, and again, that's part of the process, so again, I appreciate that, though. Anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? You're welcome to stay. I'm not sure who will be here.